Welcome back to the Atlanta Construction Podcast. Today we're joined by Andrew Doucet and Craig Duininck of PMco. In this episode, we touch on Craig and Andrew's background, their experience in industry, and how they started and managed a company during a global pandemic. Hope you enjoy the episode. All right, welcome back to the Atlanta Construction Podcast. Super excited to have our guests on here today. We have Andrew Doucet. Andrew, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
And Craig Duininck. Thanks for being here, Craig.
Thank you.
I'm going to just start with some bios to introduce the guys here. Andrew Doucet is a graduate of Dalhousie University Construction Leadership Program and a Gold Seal Certified Project Manager. Andrew also has his professional Gold Seal certificate, demonstrating his commitment to professional development, has over 15 years of industry experience. On to Craig. Craig is a graduate of St. FX University. It's an executive certificate in real estate development and management, as well as honors degree in entrepreneurship. Craig has worked from Winnipeg to Halifax in his real estate career, and now oversees property management portfolio for PMco, as you see here. Guys, we're going to get into PMco here a little bit later. But to start today's show, we have a really interesting theme here. We're going to focus more on how these guys got where they're at, and then we'll get into a little bit of their new venture, which ironically they started during COVID. So that's definitely something that our guests and audience is going to want to hear. So, Andrew, why don't you kick us off?
I'm a gentleman, so I'm gonna actually let Craig.
Oh yeah,
Craig
make me look bad. Yeah.
I'm gonna let Craig go first. I just want to make it clear too. It says graduate from Dal in my bio. That was about a 10-week course, so I just want to make that clear to the listeners. I'm not a Dalhousie alumni. I do have a nice plaque, and I spent some time there. Though. It sounds good. It definitely sounds good. But yeah, I think I'll let Craig, who's a co-founder of our group here, PMco, and basically the guy who runs it the day to day. I'll be honest. I usually take a day a week with the team and try to put as much knowledge as I can with the team. But Craig's kind of he's the boots on the ground. He's whatever it takes. So I'll let you go first, Craig, and give us a little background of the little pit bull, as we call him.
A little background. Yeah, comparing Andrew and I, we come from a different background for sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually from the U.S. I'm from Minnesota.
Okay.
Moved to Ontario when I was 15, played 5 years in the Ontario Hockey League. Then after that, it was kind of a decision that you make when you're kind of at that stage in your life. If a young hockey player, if you want to try to make it pro or if you want to focus on education. I was never really very good. So I figured instead of trying to battle the East Coast League or other junior leagues, that I think education is probably the best route for me. And I do think it was the right decision looking back.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
Common tale.
After that, I moved out to Nova Scotia, probably 22 years old, and went to St. FX, did 4 years out there, and really fell in love with being out here, the vibe of Nova Scotia. And when you get to meet people, everyone always jokes about Nova Scotians knowing everyone. And you don't really see it until you come out here and you get to talking people and you get to networking, and that it's hard to leave when you start building a network, because the thought goes, what do you do next if you have to go somewhere else and start a new group, a new network of business and friends and everything.
Yeah, I hear that, man.
Yeah, and so again, after that, got my degree and then didn't know if I wanted to move back home, back to the U.S. where all my friends are, or I guess friends are now mostly out here, but where my family is and everything. So ended up meeting a couple good people out here and stuck around and got a job, and here we are.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Okay, you got to tell us a little more.
Yeah,
there.
we should dig more into the construction side of things with the history, because we're gonna contrast the themes of where you guys both came from. Is that what we were going for? Or?
Yeah. So
what do you want to know, Andrew?
I want to know. I want to know. I want to know you. So you played hockey, then you went to St. FX, and then what brought you to work in Halifax, and your first opportunity, And
Great
how did you make
question.
that? And how did you make that
question.
decision that okay, this is going to be my focus, and this is now where my career is going to go from? It started with hockey, and now I'm going to go into my professional, learning your schools and learning what you did through academics. But then you're in the construction industry right now because it's a different path, and I think it'd be interesting for Dan's listeners to hear that side of it.
Yeah, and I think, and depending on who you talk to, it might be a different story. But I found the most I got out of university. I had an unbelievable experience, and everything was fantastic about St. FX. But again, going back to the network, it's the people that you meet. In my last year there, it was probably February, around this time of the year in my graduating year, I met my mentor, or if we want to use names, Doug Doucet, the owner of RCS Construction.
Right.
And I met with him, and it was actually on the award that we were talking about earlier.
And just to clarify, that Doug is someone who is instrumental in both your journeys, career-wise.
Very much, yeah.
Okay.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah. So I met with Doug probably in February about, he sits on a board at the Sobeys Foundation.
Right.
And we got to talking, and I told him about my passion for real estate, and I worked in Winnipeg the year before for a condo multi-res.
You mentioned Sobeys. You won an award, right? You won the Sobeys Award, right?
Yes, I did.
Tell us a little bit about that as you go. It's a good shout out for you.
Yeah, thank you. In my last year, I won the Sobeys Award for business, entrepreneurship in business. What it is, it's an award given to 8 Atlantic Canadian business students or entrepreneurial-minded students. It's quite the application process, and you have to show entrepreneurial future and aspirations and things, and while also showing commitment to your community, volunteer work, and also success in the classrooms.
Right.
What I like about the award is success in the classrooms is probably the last thing that they look at, because you can be a very average student, but you're driven, you're working 2 jobs, you're doing whatever it takes to put yourself through school, and you're also giving back to the community, and that's what the award is all about. So I was very fortunate to win that award in my last year, and that's where I met Doug.
Right.
And when I met Doug, I kind of told him, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I don't know if I'm going to go back to the U.S. I don't know if I'm going to go to Toronto. Maybe I want to work for a bigger company. But real estate, end of the day, is what I want to be in. What I love about real estate is you can be a developer, you can be a leasing agent, there's so many different things that you can be in.
Even in construction and maintenance.
Anything. But I told him that was my passion, and we kind of hit it off then, and he said, whatever you decide to do, keep me in touch.
Right.
And so I graduated 3 or 4 months later and called him, and ever since February we stayed in touch, and he said, I don't have a role for you, but but come in, we're going to figure it out.
But it's so great to see someone who's had so much success still have the time to say, hey, give me a call. That's so important, because mentorship and having the right people surrounded, I see that a lot in the construction community. The networking here and the community here is so welcoming, and that's so important. Doug would have had a huge impact on you at that time. Right?
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Doug.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I got it.
So now I guess we should let Andrew speak.
We'll let him talk.
Well, no joke, because I'm with RCS Construction as well, and I've been there for 15 years and still there. And there was no position for Craig, but Doug knew that this guy was a pit bull. He was different than most millennials, and that he was going to help RCS become successful, his development arm become successful. So he just wanted to give him a shot. And the thing we have in common, Craig and I, are Doug also gave me my first shot. So I'll kind of go through my background.
Yeah, which is quite different than kind of where you start. Obviously, it's coming from a different area, but a little more blue collar starting out. This guy here,
little more blue collar. I played hockey as well. No Memorial Cups for me.
No Memorial Cups. Did we touch on that yet? That you were the Memorial Cup. Was it what year? 2009.
2009-10. Yeah.
Were you a forward?
D.
You're D.
No.
How's your plus minus in the?
I think it was okay, and the only reason
it's okay to talk about that, right?
Yeah. It's been 10 years. Yeah,
we're in Halifax.
Exactly. If you're a Moosehead.
Yeah. Hey, they've had their run, but I played for the Windsor Spitfires back in the day, and we had a really good team. A couple guys like Taylor Hall, Ryan Ellis, Zach Cassian, Really very talented players, and that the Memorial Cup that year, I think we won like 8-1, 8-2. Then we sat,
Just blowing everybody out.
it was great. And it's a fun part about I was a underage 16-year-old kid, no good, but I got to play all the games because we were up 7 goals every time. So
Yeah, you got more ice time.
yeah. So it was, I think we won the final 9-1. But
That's awesome.
it was fun. So I think I was,
That
still
actually
probably
makes
minus.
it kind of boring. So I'll jump in now and
Let's let Andrew talk.
let me talk now. I thought my story was going to be exciting, but then you throw in the Memorial Cup champion. But all
Just to
good.
set him up.
He's got the X ring on over here, and he's got the Memorial Cup at home, so not bad. So yeah, my story is definitely a bit different. So when I was finishing high school, like probably most high school kids, I didn't really have a clue what I was going to do, and I ended up, which is probably another classic tale. I wanted to live in Halifax. I knew that from an early age. I was actually I was up here for a hockey school, figuring out that hockey was not going to be a full-time job. That was 100% sure. So I'm sitting on the stairs at Pizza Corner with my uncle, and it's
Been there.
this is though I was like 12 years old, so we're not talking the typical 2-3 a.m. So I'm sitting on the big stairs that don't even exist there anymore, and I'm just seeing the hustle and bustle of the city on a Friday afternoon, and I was like, I'm going to be here. I don't know how, I don't know what I'm going to do. So pushing forward, I get in grade 12. I don't really know, what my focus is going to be. I know I like cooking breakfast sandwiches, so I'm like, why not be a chef? So I
I wish I would have took culinary. Yeah.
Well, I
I
did.
can't cook. I can't cook.
so I came up here. I was living in my cousin's basement in Cole Harbor. I was biking to Akerley campus, and I thought I was going to be a chef. I lasted about 2.5 weeks there. Not much of a quitter usually, but I knew pretty quickly it wasn't going to be for me. So once I figured that out, I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I was actually bringing it back to Doug. I was actually cutting Doug's lawn every Sunday to make a couple bucks while I was in community college, right? So he's building his new office, which is the RCS office out in Bedford. And he's like, come on, man, just come for a few days, whatever. I'll pay you cash. I don't know if I should say that out loud, but I'll pay you cash and just see if you like it. Just see if you like it, and we'll all you got to do is sweep floors. And I was like, I don't know. I literally the day before took an application to start at an Old Navy. I seen them with their headphones on, and I was like, I could do that. I could sell clothes.
You sell clothes. Sell
Anyway,
a pair of shoes
so-
like no one's business.
So the first ask, I was kind of like, nah, I don't think so. Construction's never really thought about it that much. Yeah, I used to build forts and build things out of boxes and stuff like that, but I was like, I don't think construction's for me. And sure enough, Doug again calls me, and he's like, we're over in Cole Harbor. We're going to dinner. Think about it again. Just come on over. I need someone for a week anyways. We're behind schedule. I need someone for a week. So I'm like, all right, I'm working for him already. I'm cutting the grass. Let's go try this out. So the first job I went to was our office that we're in right now. And yeah, so that was 15 years ago. And probably in the first half week, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And not be a laborer and sweep floor, but I got to go on to some other job sites and watch how the supers interacted with the sub-trades. I watched how the RCS PM came in with the client, walked the site, and then I got a real hunger for...
Got the fever.
I wanted to be a project manager. I was like, that is what I want to be, and I want to do it sooner than later. Right. As your friends, you know me now, the patients aren't the best for me. But Doug was pretty quick, and Doug wasn't going to hand anybody anything, right? He was going to give people opportunities. And like now what I say to everybody, you take that opportunity and run with it, right? So after I started on the different job sites, I started working my way up. I was in my construction manager's office like every day, like give me more responsibility, whatever it takes, And then I moved myself up to a lead hand, and then I was doing some foreman work. The biggest thing I say, too, to other people coming up now is don't say no, take every opportunity you can. So I would do the weekend shift, I'd do the holiday shift, and just to get to lead hand to foreman to any responsibilities, and then started doing a foreman job on night shifts for RBCs, and we were doing like 3 at a time, so I was kind of overseeing all that. And then as I was going up, I didn't have the schooling or any of the background, so I started taking a lot of the Construction Association of Nova Scotia courses.
They're great.
Every single course I possibly could, I took. Our Construction 101, management, site supervision, safety, and I was taking them and adding them all up. Before I think even Gold Seal was a thing, so I had a bunch of these courses, and then the opportunity came with RCS that as RCS continued to grow, they needed a small jobs division, so they were going to put out for a small jobs coordinator. So I went in for that role. And it was originally supposed to be 80% on site and 20% in the office. And it quickly turned into 20%, 80% the other way. And then I started to engage other foremans and supers and shifted the small jobs division into custom projects, because I was getting a lot of my first time business owners and small restaurants. So it was a little... people were kind of getting taken back by, why am I dealing with this small jobs division, right? This is my life savings. So I shifted it. I did kind of like a whole business plan on why we should call construction or custom projects division. One of our senior project managers, who now builds $10 million, $15 million builds, started there. And it nurtured new project managers and project coordinators and foremans all through up the ranks, and kind of you ate what you killed, right? So you really had to be estimating, managing, supervising, whatever.
You're
it
wearing
took.
so many different hats at the same time.
A bunch of different hats. I would never change it for a second, because it gave me
Part of the fun, in a way.
Yeah, definitely part of the fun, and it gave me a lot of knowledge of every aspect of it. So once I kind of grew that division, I started getting offers to do larger jobs by those clients that first started out with smaller projects. So I started just down the street here. The first larger job I did was probably Pizza Go-Go. And I was, Pete basically designed that on the back of a napkin, and we figured it out, and it turned into a beautiful space. And then after that, now I've gone on to build car dealerships, restaurants like El Mercado, office, you name it, I've probably done it. And now with my role at RCS, I'm director of construction, and I ended up getting my gold seal. So I got my gold seal probably 5 years ago.
You referred to that earlier, and you were saying, it's not like it's a Dell, engineering degree, but it was a 10-week course. But like that's pretty respected. I mean, that's a very, very respected. Let me rephrase that in the industry, right? So that's 10 weeks over the course of maybe a year, right? You're picking away at it, yeah.
With other professionals too, right? Like there was other business owners, there was other directors in that course.
Very
at the time.
industry related. Yeah.
Very industry related,
Yeah.
and we were the inaugural group that were in it. So there was about 10 of us, but that just helped me get those points towards the gold seal, and then I ended up writing my gold seal later on.
Did your old cans courses that you took over the years, did they count once the gold seal came into place, or were they not?
Every cans course I took over those years all counted towards it.
I want to shout that out to our listeners, anyone who's out there that's thinking about joining cans or thinking about being a member. Like, these courses they put on are very relevant, and anything from working in healthcare projects to fire stopping, any specialty stuff, safety. So they do a great job.
100%.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job, and it was professional. It's beyond professional now with their interactive stations they have there, and how they pivoted through COVID and doing it all, some via Zoom. But even back then, everything was professional and first class. But yeah, that all helped with the gold seal, and then the gold seal is recognized for the Canadian construction. So it's recognized throughout the whole country, and then
It gives you confidence too.
no question, it definitely it put a stamp on it, because I always felt closer. I always felt, the gold seal definitely, I would say, put a stamp on it for me, because I was always concerned with not having the schooling background and just having, boots on the ground background that I wouldn't be taken serious. So just having those letters, and then 7 years later to have the professional stamp as well was a surprise and another great what's
As a
word?
milestone.
Another great milestone for my career for sure.
I think that's a great entry point to like a really interesting topic, because that part of the theme today with PMco, your new endeavor with the two of you being partners, you guys come from a really different background. Andrew mentions a little bit of self-conscious, a little bit self-conscious about coming from only a blue-collar background, not having, certain degrees under your belt or certain credentials, say, after your name. But yet, you also talked about starting out in small jobs for a long time. Well, small jobs in construction, I don't think there's a better place to come out of. I mean, that can be mayhem and even harder than working on the major projects where there's more autonomy, right? Like you have to figure everything out on the smaller jobs.
110%.
So that's an interesting point that you made, that you came from that.
The small jobs, because you don't have the spec book to go back to, you don't have all the information and the drawings, right? With the larger projects, very cumbersome, and also nothing in this industry is easy, which we all know. We're all touching it right now. But just on the larger projects with the more structure, if you're organized and you do what you say you're going to do, you can be successful at it, right? And you have more kind of teammates within your own company and business working on those projects. But enough about large projects, because we're here to talk about
That's right. So I was leaving
PMco.
That's right. Well, PMco, but first, for any let's touch on one more thing before PMco. I know you guys want to get to that, and we will. But let's think about, the youth, the young people out there tuning in to Atlantic Construction Podcast, thinking about what they want to do after grade 12. A lot of people are trades driven, but like we were talking about before we were on the air, like the construction industry is so vast now. Like it's there's so many different players, and you guys being from two different themes of backgrounds, where Craig, you're university, real estate, and all that entails with buildings. Andrew on the blue collar side, but like what would you guys say, to 17 to 20-year-olds that are listening right now and maybe aren't thinking about going into like the trades for plumbing and carpentry and all those things, but wanting to be project managers, and like what's it like out there? Because it's like it's fast paced, it's exciting, but it's stressful. Like you got to make decisions on the fly. You got to be good with people and good with construction details and drawings. And so like just speak a little bit to that from both your different backgrounds for the youth that are listening.
Yeah, I know Andrew wants to talk about this one, but I wanted to say about your comment about being intimidated, not having the education background. I found not coming from a construction background, and not like I come from a family of commercial tires. So I grew up like working in the shops there. Yeah. On 18-wheelers and things, like not overly long, occasional summers in between school. But coming into the construction industry after having a degree, and I mean, I did fine in school, I was more intimidated coming to the sites, working with people that I didn't know what their credentials were, but I know that they've been in the industry. So I was intimidated because I know I haven't started from the ground up. And I haven't been on the construction site, so I don't know everything that goes into a construction project. So it's kind of interesting that from one side of it, you think that people look differently upon you because you don't have the education background.
Well, and that's part of the beauty of the construction industry in Atlantic Canada is like you got a real like unique enmeshment of like white collar and blue collar, and one doesn't happen without the other. Like they're both just as important as the other, but everybody's kind of self-conscious over here who hasn't been doing foundations for 20 years or framing walls or whatnot. But without everybody needs to find a way to work together. But then everyone's very proud of the background they have and their unique knowledge and stuff too.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and definitely, I think everyone brings a different component to a project.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about major projects, but smaller projects, especially, everyone kind of brings a different piece of value into a project where you might look at it a little different way, or you might have a different way to approach a project that you might, if you've been in the industry for 20 years, hate to say it, but there's a lot of people that have acted the same way for as long as they've been in the industry, instead of innovation and looking at projects a different way. So with PMco, we've focused early on. We haven't even been established for a year yet, but early on, our strategy was to implement different software and different technologies that when we grow, we're going to be able to scale quickly, and we're going to have an advantage over other competitors because we're not stuck in old ways. We're doing things from the ground up. We're building it exactly how we want to see it in the
Teach an
future.
old dog new tricks, right?
Well, yeah.
You can live with it.
Living proof.
So yeah, the biggest thing with the first thing I would say is all education is great. Whether you're going to St. X, you're taking business, or you're taking the trades.
Absolutely.
If we're speaking to the kids, the girls and boys coming out of high school, you don't have to rush anything. Like figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you have some interest in construction,
Work a
then-
summer job.
Exactly. Work a summer job, get on as a laborer, be a sponge, take it all in and see every aspect of it. We really got to kill the narrative that construction is not business or professional, because everybody on the construction site, 9 times out of 10, are front-facing clients. Site managers are dealing with the liability of safety. They're dealing with change orders. They're dealing with a schedule and critical path that they have to stay focused on. Yeah. So they're professionals. The people on the site are professionals. Us in the office are professionals. It's got to be thrown away that this is all just blue collar. We put our tool belt on and things just happen. Yeah. There's lots of different dynamics to it. But what I would say first is take your time, figure out what you want to do. If you want to go down the education route, which I would suggest all day long, and learn business, but you want to end up in the construction zone, be ready when you go through 4 years a university or college that you might have to start at a lower level, right? You might have to start as a laborer, but then you can quickly work your way up to...
You're living proof of that. Look how far you've come from a laborer 15 years ago.
No question, and not just me, because it's kind of... people know that I'm related to Doug, but it's all about that if you get an opportunity, it's what you do with it. It's that there's no ceilings. You just have to, you get on that site, you become a sponge, you figure out what you want to do. You
ask questions.
Ask questions, listen, take it all in, watch how different people interact with the client, with the sub-trades, with the engineers, with the architects, with everything. Because you might want to go into a sub-trade role, you might want to go into an architectural role, you might want to be a project manager, you might just want to be a super and steer that ship from the boots on the ground standpoint. So the options are endless, and then when you get that opportunity, it's right back on you, kid, on what you want to do with it. And most companies, I can speak for PMco, I can speak for RCS, I can speak for Millwright. Once you have the opportunity, there's no ceiling, right? It's endless. So that'd be the biggest thing for younger people, and then for young professionals who went through college or university and are kind of hitting a wall that this isn't really what I want to do. Well, the option's there for you as well. I mean, a lot of these construction programs through NSCC or
Dalhousie continuing education.
Dalhousie continuing education. New Brunswick has a great community college.
Holland
St.
College
John's,
and PEI, Holland College.
Holland College.
Great programs there.
These programs are all like 2 years, right? So you're another shift into what you really want to do. So,
and it never hurts to have a business degree on the side. I mean, that's going to teach you communication skills, like even just writing proper emails, being able to word things correctly, getting all that stuff. You're dealing with architects and the site super one day, and the next day it's a bunch of plumbers and electricians. Like, you know, it's such a vast, so many different players to pull together.
Yeah, 100%.
I heard a good quote the other day, and I don't want to take a quote from a potential future guest to your show, but entrepreneurs love business. They might not necessarily love their business. We're lucky because we do love our business, or I do at least. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're coming through the high school and college, and you might, like Andrew said, you might not know what you want to do yet, but you know that you want to be customer facing, you want to have your own business, dive into something.
Yeah.
Like construction's like you mentioned before, construction is such a great industry because you can be on the development side, you can be on the smaller construction side, the big major projects that Andrew's done before. There's so much opportunity there that if you get your foot in the door, you might love it. And you might find that you love being a project manager. You want to be a company owner. If you want to get a trade and start your own business, there's tons of opportunity there.
You see estimators, you know, they know the project and they know the specs and everything. And then they turn into project managers at some point and then go back again, or some of them start their own business. So it's like everybody's dipping into all the different roles.
Yeah.
You know? Well, let's get into PMco a little bit, because I know you guys started this business during COVID. It's been under a year, right?
Yep.
And obviously a trying time. I think a lot of listeners would be interested in what that was like to start a new endeavor during COVID. Obviously, took a lot of courage. I'm sure you were planning things prior to that, but it's a pretty unique business model as well. I know you guys could probably explain it better than me, but you're kind of a one-stop shop for someone looking for a new location, a new location in a building, and you kind of have a full package service. You have the real estate side with you, Craig, and then you have the construction side with Andrew, and you kind of combine everything from like point A right through to like leasing and project management, construction, on to maintenance of the building if necessary. So. I think it's really unique, and maybe just talk a little bit about the company, some of the challenges, and if there's anyone listening out there that could use your service as an ideal client who you're looking for. So.
Yeah, PMco has been in the works over a year now. We got up and running in August of 2020, but it was in the works before COVID, and we really noticed a shift in the market when COVID hit. There were a lot of big projects. We had a lot of tenants that I'm dealing with. A lot of part of my job before PMco was talking with retailers and other companies out of Toronto or some of the bigger markets around Canada and ask, especially if they're not in Atlantic Canada yet, when are they coming? What's the plan? And I noticed a lot of them, if they had locations here, instead of opening new locations, they were looking to renovate, put a little bit of money, staying where they are, adapt to COVID. And instead of doing a full new build, it would be a smaller renovation. Right. And we started noticing this shift and thought it would be a perfect time to roll out PMco. It's small jobs company on the construction side. But on top of that, we also do, like you said, the one-stop shop. We do the full property management. We do leasing. We do service work. So we touch on a lot of the pieces where we consider ourselves a one-stop shop, because if you're our ideal client, you can come to us if you're looking for either a new location or you're looking for your first location. We can find you a space. If we can't put you in a building that we already manage, we can find a space for you. And then I'm still your contact. Me and Ann, we're working together. If we find you a perfect space and now you have to do construction, you have to do a little fit up, we're your people. We can get you drawings. We can price it up for you. We can work with the landlord. We can do whatever you need to do. If you're a new company and you don't have that background with construction, we have that background here.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So if you're a business owner out there you're gonna have some kind of building asset, then you guys are the guy. If you want to just leave the construction totally up to someone else, then.
Yep.
Well, the biggest thing I try to say to potential clients at all times, like, let us, the construction specialists, focus on your build so you can continue to focus on your building.
I wish that would always happen.
Let us, the construction experts, focus on the build so you can continue growing your business, right? You focus on your business, and we'll bring you into the loop as much as you need to be brought into the loop at a high level, or if you need a day-to-day update on what progress is. We know what we're doing. We have the background. We kind of specialize in it, and we're looking out for your best interest and the end user's best interest, and for your customer's best interest.
It's really forward thinking too, to combine those services and make a one-stop shop. That's definitely something that's going to help a lot of people in so many different ways.
Yeah, and then on that's a lot of the construction side. On the management side is where we like to focus, or where I like to focus, is we manage properties for our ideal client. We always kind of try to look in two different silos or divisions of the company. On the real estate side of things, our ideal client is a developer or a business owner, someone that has invested in real estate. And now we can be that one-stop shop, coming from kind of looking at it the other direction here. Is you can hire us to manage your property, work with your tenants. We collect rent, do all the accounting. We manage all your service work. If you want to live down in Florida and not worry about your property, that's why you bring us in. And on top of that, when a vacancy comes up in your building, which we try not to ever happen, but it does, we go out, we can find that tenant. Now we're looking at the other side of it, where we can find that tenant. We can work with them on the construction side, build their space. So everyone there's not always, but there's that disconnect of the landlord and the contractor, and the tenant and the contractor. We're now we're the one contact. The tenant is dealing with us on the leasing side, and the landlord, the developer, is dealing with us on all the service side, everything. So everyone has that one contact.
Yeah, and you got all the big front end stuff, and maintenance is something too that I wouldn't overlook if I was a business owner, because like the last thing you want is a bunch of things leaking in your roof when you're away, or this and that, and just someone managing that building like it's a living thing that has to be like attained to over the years,
and
right?
what Andrew said is our clients that we work with and our future clients are great at running their business. They might be, but they might not be great at construction or maintenance and things. And you see very often that they like to try to manage the maintenance themselves or manage the small construction projects themselves, when in reality they should or can be out making money doing what they're really good at, and then hand it off to us.
They should have their mental energy somewhere else.
Yeah, and you have our phone number in your phone, and anything happens, it's a text, it's a call, it's an email, and say, hey, we're having an issue, come check it out. We're there.
So a few of the properties we're looking after now, why don't you give us some insight on that?
I'll give you one good example that we're working on a deal right now, and I think it sums up PMco really well. We have a new business. We have two partners, one coming out of school, one coming out of Ontario, looking to open a new practice. We have a building out in Hammonds Plains, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to bring them in. We have a vacancy there, and we're bringing them in with the leasing expertise, kind of working from the landlord perspective as well as the tenant perspective. They're new to leasing, so they originally reached out to me. They were looking at a different building, and they just wanted a little insight, a little help, let us know if this all makes sense. So I sat down, worked with them. They figured out it wasn't the best opportunity, so brought them over to another building. They really like it. We're working together with the landlord. Now they're getting us to price the construction work. So we did up drawings, we're doing up estimates, and we're going to work with the landlord to do all of the landlord construction as well as the tenant construction. And then hopefully once we get them in there, if they have any issues, they know I'm still their one contact. They can contact me for whatever they need. And same with the landlord. We're ongoing management there. So whatever they need, I'm still the one contact.
And so that's ideal. You're hitting all the points of your services there, but you'll also help somebody out with just maintenance or just leasing or whatever it is their specific needs will be, right?
Yeah, we have different contracts that we can. I think we've touched on every point that we do, but that's not the only thing we do. We can tailor our contracts to whatever you need. If you only need maintenance, we have a maintenance contract perfect for you. You can use us. We're your one call. Sign a maintenance contract with us. We'll give you a little bit of a discount and we'll look after everything. There's leasing only. We have developers that like to do their own maintenance, but they don't like to do their own leasing. So you can hire us just to do the leasing part of it.
So you're going to cater to whatever it is their specific needs.
Whatever you need.
We're kind of catering to whatever people need, whatever our clients, our potential clients need, and we're not stepping on anyone's toes, right? Like we're not trying to be the big developer. We're not trying to take anyone's property management out, but we're trying to be there as an assist, right? And we're trying to do it in our for some of our clients now and be their sole source property managers for sure. And that's a goal, but we're not here to step on other people's toes.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a real good white space there, like a real niche of no one else is really doing exactly what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I think we're pretty unique.
Yeah.
And
unique's a good word.
Yeah. Like we mentioned, it's we've only been in the industry, or not only been in the industry, but we've been established for about 6 months now, and we've got a pretty solid list of clients that we've already built relationships with, and our goal is never one project. It's not get in the door and do one little fit up and we're out. It's the next one. We want to be with our ideal client on the construction side is that constantly growing, innovating, new design, something that's going to have multiple locations that we can help you every step of the way. Because then we touch on they're looking for a new location. If we have that relationship, they know that we're in the industry of finding them a new location.
Right. So you just make the first point of contact and help them out, and then the doors can start opening and just take a journey with each client, really.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Anything else you guys want to touch on for PMco? Anything else that you might have missed or that you kind of didn't think of or might think in 10 minutes after you leave? But,
I'm sure
I wish I would have said that.
I'm sure there will be, but no, I think we kind of touched on it. We're very happy with how we started. We're about 6 months in right now. We got a new hire starting up. I'm not sure where this airs, so I'm not gonna say dates, but he's probably a great hire right now, which is great. So we have a great team around us, and we're looking forward to continue to grow, meet new clients, and be a part of this Atlantic Canada construction industry.
Yeah, that's amazing, guys. Kudos to you guys. That's not everybody can pull that off during a global pandemic. So obviously that took a lot of talent and skill and a lot of courage too. So that's amazing. You're crazy busy with all your business endeavors with RCS and PMco and millwrights and stuff, but you do a lot of community stuff too. You were on the board with CANS, I think. You're connected with the Mental Health Foundation Nova Scotia and a few other things. You want to just give us a little background there?
Yeah, definitely. I was the chair of developing executives with CANS, which was a great experience. Again, first class, professional, a lot of great opportunities there and great ways to network with other younger and developing executives. And then I've been on the Mental Health Foundation board for I'm coming up to my 4th year. I'm actually co-chair this year, so I get a lot involved with the fundraising because I have a background with the IWK with the Great Big Dig. I was part of that for 8 years, so I have a real passion for giving back.
Such a great event.
Such a great event.
Great Big Dig it's amazing how that comes together.
No
it's
question,
awesome.
And so is Festival of Trees, and so is
the
Different Stage of Mind, and so is the De-icer.
Countless others as well.
No question, but I love giving back to Halifax. I love giving back to Atlantic Canada. I love being a part of the mental health. Mental health is very close to me in some personal stuff, and I love being a part of that board, and I love being, boots on the ground when the events come up, whether it's getting auction items or whatever it is. And then when it's part of the board stuff with the governance and the financial and the budgets and making decisions, I love being a part of that. So yeah, it's always great to give back, and it's great to be a part of this Atlantic Canadian community because everyone's I love the saying, if one of us goes to war, we all go to war, because I think Nova Scotians, New Brunswickers, St. Johners, Islanders, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention my hometown, Cape Bretoners, right? So we're all united.
For anybody that doesn't know, Andrew is from Cape Breton.
Yeah, I am
from Prince Edward Island, so we're both from Island.
There you go. So,
surrounded by water.
But no, this Atlantic Canadian community is something special to be a part of, and any chance you can give back, it's a great feeling, and to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, Andrew. It's great to see, and I have tremendous respect for someone who's as busy as you are and has been able to work so hard and be successful to give back in those different arenas. So that's awesome, man. Okay, before we get out of here, where can people find you guys online?
You can find us on Instagram. We have our Instagram is at PMco Inc. That's PMCOINC. And we post a lot of our progress pictures, different clients, and we do client portfolios as well as our employee profiles on there. Learn a little bit more about us there. And on LinkedIn, PMco Incorporated, more professional things of what we're doing, events that we're at, and again, there we'll do kind of final pictures of construction projects that we're on and properties and leasing that we have available. You can also find everything on our website, pm-co.ca. There you can see any leasing availabilities or our contact information or anything on there.
Cool. Andrew, anything to add there?
I think we
Craig pretty much wrapped. You got a good partner there.
Sealed the deal, man. A great partner, absolutely.
You know how to pick a good business partner.
Excited for the future.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, listen, thanks. It's been great having you, Craig, and you, Andrew, on the Atlantic Construction Podcast, and great having PMco on. I think we touched on a lot of things. Hoping that our listeners, a lot of the youth out there, will connect with your guys' different backgrounds and your different stories. And then again, the fact that you guys were able to pull this off and get PMco off the ground during a global pandemic, I think that deserves a lot of credit. So great job, guys. And that's amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Atlantic Construction Podcast. Be sure to follow us on any podcast platform you use. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Instagram at Atlantic Construction Podcast. Be sure to send us a comment or a review. We'd love to engage with you.